In 60 Minutes on 2, the original feature film of MASH, starring Donald Sutherland. That's after the Old Grey Whistle Test, live from the Rainbow Theatre, London, where we're about to join Radio 1 in stereo for the Kinks' Christmas concert.
And now our Christmas Day on BBC Two continues as we begin a season of films featuring well-known literary works set to music. The colourful and decadent Berlin Cafe Society in the 30s provided the setting for Christopher Isherwood's Goodbye to Berlin. In 1974, Liza Minnelli, Joel Grey and Michael York became the stars of Cabaret.
Now on to, direct from the Dominion Theatre in London's Tottenham Court Road, Anne Nightingale introduces a special Christmas Eve whistle test concert featuring Ian Dury and the Blockheads. It'll be broadcast simultaneously in stereo on Radio 1 VHF.
And now BBC Two is joined by Radio 1 in stereo as the Old Grey Whistle Test celebrates Christmas with Toya. Well, now on to the first of 4 films featured in the Wildscreen 82 Festival, which won the award for the best script. It's a portrait of one of the world's most spectacular fishing birds, the osprey. Most of us have grown up with the stories of Mrs. Tiggywinkle, Peter Rabbit and Jeremy Fisher. Well, BBC Two now presents a biography of their creator, the tale of Beatrix Potter. It stars Penelope Wilton.
Now, the first of our 2 Chaplin classics this afternoon co-stars The Tramp with Scraps a Mongrel, A Dog's Life.
Well, now, as we're just 1 hour and 1 minute into Boxing Day already, we come to a close. I trust you've had a pleasant Christmas Day, and we look forward, perhaps, to the pleasure of your company sometime tomorrow on BBC Two. Meanwhile, this is Peter Bolgar on behalf of all of us here, wishing you a very good night.
Here on 2, Billy Wilder directs and Marilyn Monroe, Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon star in the film, the verdict of which is simple. Some like it hot.
Here on 2, our Christmas Day continues with a visit to an amazing volcanic world in Islands of the Fire Goddess.
2.
And to take us up to that, a comic masterpiece of misunderstanding from the pen of Alan Ayckbourn. Nigel Hawthorne, Imogen Stubbs, Michael Maloney and Gwen Watford star in Relatively Speaking.
The Cry of Christmas from the innovative hand of composer John Tavener, now on BBC Two, as the climax to our Advent season of music videos, a new performance of his work, God is With Us.
You may have spent some of this morning looking into a stocking or pillowcase. Well, now on BBC Two, we continue our animated 2 season by offering you the chance to look inside the wrong trousers and the work of Oscar-winning animator Nick Park.
Now on BBC Two, it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing, according to Tony Bennett.
First on BBC Two, a comedy show that spanned 25 years and can boast a nursery of famous stars. Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In.
For BBC Two now, Frederick Wiseman strips the mask off the American Ballet Theatre for a revealing insight of life on the stage.
On BBC Two in 45 minutes, Stella Street, but now the search is on for a perfect Christmas. So what are we doing in Steptoe's yard?
An adventure from Beatrix Potter now on BBC Two, The Tale of Mr. Todd.
First, profiling the original girl power. This is BBC Two.
A rare chance to see a restored version of a classic now on BBC Two as our Laurel and Hardy season continues.
BBC Two's rocking around the Christmas tree in half an hour. Steve Wright presents a special Top of the Pops 2 after a mince pie nightmare.
Back now to this Monday afternoon on BBC Two, where Anne Robinson will be getting her teeth into the weakest link in 45 minutes from now.
George Best once said, "I spent a lot of money on booze, birds and fast cars, and the rest I just squandered." Celebrating a football legend here on BBC Two with a whole evening of programmes. George Best Night begins at 9.
Tonight it really is the season of goodwill, with all our business tycoons pitching into a project to purify water in the developing world. A cracker of a Dragon's Den. That's at 9 here on BBC Two. No Nigella tonight on BBC Two. In a change to the schedule, we've got Rick Stein instead. Get in the mood for Christmas with festive food full of local flavour.
The election's looming, serious times for our comedy The Thick of It, on the way at 10:10. Now though, on BBC Two, it's to Telford for semi-final snooker action with Hazel Irvine. James May shifting gear. He's a guest on tonight's Have I Got a Bit More News for You later at 9:30. Now though, on BBC Two, Dad's Army needs some new recruits.
Find out who will take their place in tomorrow's final. UK Championship Snooker continues in half an hour. First hit on BBC Two, Finding the Loot. In Luton, it's Flogate. Now on BBC Two, a maximum of 9 frames will decide who makes it through to tomorrow's final, day 8 of the UK Championship Snooker continues.
So if 40 grand is the average income, why do some families feel flush while others count the pennies? Money in an hour. Pushing the boundaries once again now on BBC Two, our finalists watch the masters at work. Then it's their turn.
Frank Skinner and quality guests find their common denominators now on BBC Two. With some strong language, they're taking class to a whole new level.
I don't think Dara O'Brien has ever left quite as much. See for yourself. Mock the Week in an hour. First on BBC Two, you can almost hear the smashing pottery from here. What did I say? Don't worry, you'll pick the words up. Welcome to Christmas on BBC 222. The challenge they've all been dreading, working with fine bone china, the great pottery throwdown in an hour. First a dish that almost, and I did say almost, leaves Marcus speechless.
Which county's regional dish is bacon badger? Find out with Terrier Mason's great food trip in 45 minutes. After another 2 hit the road first, and Len's feeling nervous about a spicy curry.
Tuning into the natural world of forest elephants in half an hour, meet the scientist who's learned their language and believes she understands what they're thinking. Right now, a chance encounter threatens to complicate things further. Just good phrase.
Fierce predators, natural-born survivors, the secret lives of leopards in Natural World in half an hour. After more retro comedy first on BBC Two, Arkwright's trying to raise more than Nurse Gladys's temperature. He's in for a shock.
Drama set in 50s Australia, a place to call home at 4:30. Before that on BBC Two Northern Ireland, Gordon Buchanan answers a call from the wild against a cold, snowy backdrop. Who's afraid of the big bad wolf?
The Daily Politics follows at noon here on BBC Two Northern Ireland after the latest from the newsroom first at 11 o'clock.
There's comedy in half an hour, and hopes of a pleasant Sunday lunch are soon dashed when the guests arrive. 2 doors down follows Stormont Today.
The sun beats down on the Pyrenees and Rick Stein as he finds memorable food and folk in secret France. First, knockout week begins for the professionals.
A radical idea saves lives at sea in half an hour. First, Mark Chapman with the third round draw.
What would you do if you had wings? Tinkerbell's experimenting with hers in our morning film after a little bit more. Amelia.
Ardlaw Hanlon steps onto the stage to host brand new Live at the Apollo here tonight at 10. Now, Choreography Corner is set to make Tuesday twinkle in It Takes Two.